Hey Yusuf, I'm just gonna make a video because I don't feel like typing everything, but here's just a quick laydown of how I got into school and then got a lot of scholarship money also. I think it was basically a combination of having good grades, having a pretty decent standardized test score, doing a lot of extracurriculars that stood out. I had like leadership positions and then doing a lot of community service and just showing overall that I was a passionate person who did stuff outside of school. So the first thing was grades. I had a 4.2 average when I applied to college. I think it was like 3.9 unweighted and 4.2 weighted. That's because I took a lot of AP classes, or not a lot, but I took like four or five, I think. And then, yeah, so there was that. And then I would say for standardized testing, I took the SAT back when it was still out of 2400 before they took it back to out of 1600, and I got like a 1980, which isn't amazing. It was like pretty, it's like a little above average, I think, is where it was. And then I got like a 30 on my ACT, which is also not that amazing. It was decent. Like it works for Santa Clara University, but definitely not for like anything higher like UCLA or Ivy Leagues or anything like that. Um, and then yeah, and I took the SAT like several times. I would say probably like 3 or 4 times, and then like the ACT a lot. You don't have to do that at all. That was just me being super paranoid. I tried to do it to get like a higher grade, and like it worked because I got like in different categories. Like I got a really good score in like English for one of them. But overall, I don't think it was worth it to take it that many times, honestly, because I don't think it was that big of a difference. And then the next thing was doing like a lot of extracurriculars. So before year rolled around, I noticed that like I hadn't really been doing anything outside of school, except for like just church activities. And so I realized I need to get involved in something, and I did decided to do DECA, which was like a business organization. And it was like a business competition kind of thing. And me and my partner did it, and we placed like third in one of like the competitions. But more importantly, that's not really what the big deal was. The big deal was that later on I was able to apply to become an officer and was accepted. And so because I had a leadership position, colleges really like to see that you're doing something like that, where you have a leadership position in your high school, or like in not necessarily in your high school specifically, but just like in anything while you're at that age, if that makes sense. They really just want to see that you're passionate about something and that you're really excelling in it, right? So it doesn't matter what that thing is; it just has to be something that you're really passionate about it, and you're working constantly to improve in it. And it's even better if it's related. Ideally, actually, if it's related to whatever you want to apply to for college. And if you don't know what you want to apply to yet, that's totally fine because I had no idea, but I decided to do business in DECA and then applied for business in college. So everything kind of lined up to show that I was interested about that. Because I was. I didn't know if I wanted to major in business, but I knew I was interested in it, right? So I would say if don't think too much about what you want to major in yet. Don't make yourself panic like that if you don't know what it is, but I would say follow your interests and follow your passions, and if you don't know what that is, that's fine. That totally makes sense. You're super young. Like you're not going to know what it is until you try a bunch of stuff and you taste things. And don't look at it as one of my friends, Max, actually said this in a video that he made, but he was saying how don't try to find passions by saying things like, oh, let me see if I'm interested in computer science, or let me see if I'm interested in math. Do you know what I mean? Like very like vague things. Find things that you find interesting and are like tangible goals. So like instead of computer science, say like for instance, oh, let me see if I think it'd be really cool if I made an app like this one that I'm using right now, and then figure out how to go do that. So that way you have an end goal. So that when it gets hard, because it will, you're more likely to persevere because you have an end goal in mind, not just this vague like let me see if I like computer science. Because if you kind of approach it like that way, you're gonna be like, no, I hate computer science, especially when it gets hard. Whereas like you really might have actually liked it if you had persevered, but you didn't have that motivation to persevere. Do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of also like I have it here. I'm in my room right now, and I have my guitar. I'm actually starting to get like a lot better at it, and the reason is because I'm practicing. But the reason I'm able to practice and not get super bored is because I didn't start by doing what the traditional thing is of like just playing chords and like learning like chord progressions and memorizing really boring stuff. Because that's just not gonna work for me, and I knew I would quit. I decided actually instead to pick a song that I really liked. And so I picked Hallelujah because I thought it was a beautiful song. And then I just Googled how to play Hallelujah on YouTube and just followed a tutorial and learned the chords from there, because it would be like, okay, you need a C chord. And then I'd be like, okay, let me see if I could figure out how to play the C chord. And I would Google how to play C chord on guitar and then learn it that way. And so I found that I was picking up chords as if I was doing like chord progressions and all that boring practice stuff without having to do the boring practice stuff, but because I had an end goal in mind. So that would be what I'd say if you wanted to try to find your passions. Don't think of like vague things. Find things that you think are really cool that you see people are doing. Like if you go out see someone dancing in the street and you're like, I want to learn that move, then go learn that move and follow it. Then maybe you find that dancing is your passion. Or you see soccer, for instance. I think you kind of get the idea. Um, but yeah, colleges really like seeing that you have like passion in something, and then Santa Clara specifically is really cares about your essays that you write for their application. Um, they really want to see that you care about their mission, but that they're a Jesuit university. You care about helping developing your whole self, and that you care about like making the world a better place. Essentially, like you could look at their specific things: competence, conscience, and compassion is their like three C's, and they really want to see that you're about that and that you're serious about that. They don't want to see that you're just like another student just trying to get like a major or grade. And if you feel like that you kind of are like that kind of student, then that's cool, because again, that kind of goes back to trying to find a passion. When you find a passion, you find that you have a mission too. I'm trying to remember if I said anything else and I completely forgot. Oh, and then like volunteer stuff at church. I make sure that like if you help out in anything like church service related and stuff, um, or anything like that, make sure you talk about that and you count those as hours. Because when I counted them, I realized that I had like 300, 400 hours of just like church service projects. Because like that's what I would do like since I was like 12 basically, right? And I didn't even think of it as like something I could put on college, but like be aware that you can, because it's service. Like if you go like help the homeless, or you go do some sort of like work for the festival, for instance, you're doing a service, right? So yeah, that's just a quick overview. If you have any other questions, feel free to hit me up. I hope that helps, man. But yeah, good luck, dude.